1,000 years of death!
Boys are talking biz. Boys are talking biz.
Welcome back! The Boys Talk Biz. We back in the house. The Boys Talk Biz. We giving you the news. We giving you the motherfucking everything we need. Yeah! Boys Talk Biz. We back. We are doing another episode of Two Sides of the Same Story. Madi watches the anime. I read the manga. We took a special one today. We got through a special one. Ranking of Kings, Osama ranking. It is a very unique story. There's a lot of really cool, unique things that this series is doing. It was kind of unknown, like not really a huge, oh my god, it's got like the biggest fan base in the world. A production company kind of just picked it up, and it got a lot of steam from there because the story is just so engaging and so it's just so unique and it's so good, and it has such an interesting art style too that you're seeing stuff that you just don't really see in a lot of mainstream anime. This one is definitely going against the grain, and I feel like it really succeeds because of that. It's so good. It's like you're watching literally like a Cartoon Network anime. Like that's what the animation feels like. It is so good, and it's one of my favorites. But it made me so mad because there's not any English translations out there, so I only could get through like half of what the anime covered, and it's freaking tragic because it's so good and it left me freaking hanging, man. I was so upset.
That's horrible.
It's, I just need to learn Japanese. I mean, that's the end of the game right there. If I just learn Japanese, I won't have to struggle anymore.
Is that what we're doing? Are we just going to end up just learning Japanese?
I really think that's just going to have to be the deal, because finding this stuff is so hard sometimes, especially for, not buying it.
Yeah.
That's the real trick. But the show is so good. It has a really good inclusion with the main character Baji. He's mute. They say he's deaf, but I'm not thinking that's true, because it seems like he can pretty much hear everything everybody says. And it's really interesting how especially in manga, where it's kind of important to have, writing out the dialogue, you have a character who can't really fully speak, so you're kind of getting the context clues of what he says from other characters, and you can kind of tell from his facial expressions what he's trying to say and what he's trying to convey. It's a very interesting way of storytelling, especially from his point of view, because you just get a very cool and fully developed feeling of what he is doing and what he is going through because of his struggles and everything that he goes through in the kingdom. It's such a good if you haven't checked it out, you got to check it out. Watch the anime, because the manga is not done. You will get left on a freaking cliffhanger like I did. And it's really good. They go through, and basically you start out and you got, basically it talks about all the kings. There's a ranking system. It depends on how good your kingdom is doing, how wealthy your country is, how strong your army is, and how strong your actual king is. And at the beginning, you've got King, I believe it's Boss. Is that what they call him in the anime?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Let me look that
It's
up.
either Boss or Bosch.
It might be Bosch.
Because it kept changing in the translation that I was reading. It would be Bosch one manga, and then the next one it would be Boss.
Let's... BOSSE, boss.
Boss. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So basically, you've got a king. You know, there's the king boss. He's the king of the kingdom that Baji lives in. He is his father. And he, in order to gain power, sacrificed Baji's power to a devil so that he could, you know, make it to the top and make sure that he was on top and stayed on top. But it shortened his lifespan. So you have this, like, already right from the top, you have these very interesting ideas. You have these very interesting, like, storytelling points. And, you know, you've got Baji, who, because of what his father has done, has very greatly suffered, because everyone in the kingdom wants him to be strong and wants him to be, you know, like a powerful figure, but it's just not who he is. He's just, you know, he's his own person, and he can't be strong because his dad literally took that from him before he was even thought of. Fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really great story. You kind of get through. There's so much, like, politics within the government, and, you know, you have everyone trying to pull fast ones on each other, and eventually that leads to them, you know, trying to kill Baji to get the second son into the king spot and stay there. And after that, you know, you just get some crazy stuff. You know, boss becomes, you know, gets reincarnated. You know, you got the shadow guy, who is the coolest character with the saddest backstory I've ever seen in my life. Oh my god, I think his name is Kaga or Kage. Oh my god, so sad. I think that's his name. That's what it was in the manga.
Let's do this again. Let's do this again.
Kaji.
Yeah, Kaji or Kag. I think they pronounced in the anime Kaji.
All right. Okay.
His
Interesting.
accent is supposed to be Latin American, by the way.
Huh.
I did not watch the dub, so in the dub, if you guys can confirm or deny that, if I'm just reading his name and his description, apparently.
Yeah.
He has
that's
a
interesting.
Latin American accent.
Cool. That's really interesting. But yeah, Kaji has, like, the saddest backstory I have ever seen in my life. Like, oh my god, I'm literally sitting there on my couch reading the manga, about to cry about a little blob of black who has, like, the saddest story I've ever seen ever. His whole clan gets annihilated. His mom is, like, almost murdered right in front of him. I can't wait for him to take revenge, because he deserves it. And he also, you know, he, like, basically stumbles into a life of crime because of all the bad shit that's happened to him. And he, you know, at first when he meets Baji, he's like, this kid's an idiot. I'm going to take advantage of him. I need that money. I need that moolah. But then he sees, he's like, oh my god, dude, like, just like me, this kid has a shit life. Like, this kid's life blows, and he is so happy. Like, he does not have a care in the world because of it. And he gets to see all of this raw emotion from Baji, especially because he can't speak and he can't convey his feelings. So you're getting just really good character development right off the bat. You know, they're creating relationships. Kaji changes. You know, he sees the good in Baji, and it's like, I'm gonna fix my ways. You know, yes, I am a shadow from the assassin clan, but I'm gonna help Baji out. And he is such a good, like, character that, like, you know, they throw him away for a little bit and then bring him back. And they throw him away and then they bring him back. You know, they're always getting in the good stuff. And basically, that is kind of close to where the manga goes. It gets to basically Baji's out there. They're trying to get him out. He gets trained by Despa, the legend Despa. And
the legend.
Yeah, he's a fucking legend, dude. You know, he gets trained, he comes back. Basically, the last, like, panel that I see is, like, King Boss looking in the magic mirror and being like, who's the strongest person in the world? And bam, Baji's face. That's like the end of it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's like right where the manga freaking stops, and I was like, no! Oh, dude, it was so tragic. Because the manga is so good. Like, literally, I was flipping so fast. I was going so quick. on my freaking tablet, just flying through pages, and then it cucked me. It straight cucked me, dude. Edged me off hard. I was so
I
upset.
hate when they do that.
I know. Classic. But yeah, that's basically where the manga ended for me. I really like all the characters feel so unique, and they all have interesting backstories. Even the queen, who like immediately at the beginning you're like, oh my god, she's
a bitch.
She's so mean, like, you know, she's so awful. But then you see little tidbits of like, like she actually is kind of nice, you know, like she goes out of her way to help Baji, and I definitely think that, you know, husband dying, having to rule a kingdom, all that stuff, not exactly the least stressful life ever. So, you know, sometimes you're gonna be a little mean, and that's, you know, that's how it goes. But still, yeah, she kind of sucks. But anyways, it's yeah, dude, the story is so good. Madi, where does the anime pick up after that magic mirror moment?
Well, we found out that Boji, he ends up becoming, we know he's getting stronger, but we don't know exactly what he's doing because Despa has him away from Kaji.
Locked in the training room.
Yeah. So we kind of look at it through Kaji's point of view, and Kaji does not, like, he hears, like, wherever there's training facilities, like in the basement of Despa's house. And so when Kaji is like cleaning the house, there's like, it's like an earthquake. And you're like, bro, what is happening down there?
What just happened? Like, what is Despa doing to this child?
Yeah. We get a glimpse. He ends up like, we get a glimpse of like his strength, and you see Boji, like, there's this huge rock, and he like slices
that shit in half, right?
Yes. Yeah. However, it's not by his strength, right? Because that's a part of the curse. He's not strong.
Yeah.
So you're like,
he's not strong.
How in the hell did he do this?
Yeah.
So his powers have to do with, or his training has to do with, Despa explains what makes objects is atoms. And he talks about how atoms, they kind of hold hands. Like, and so if you go to something more solid, let's say like a rock, for instance, there's a lot of hand holding amongst the atoms. So it's very strong. But he's like, amongst these clusters of atoms, the rock, there's some point in the rock where they're not holding hands. There's what's the saying? A chink in the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. So he taught Boji how to find it, and he would poke it because he has like a little musketeer sword.
Yeah, he's literally just got a little rapier, like it's or like a fencing sword almost, you know, like it's still like a toothpick.
So he pokes it, and the rock will split. And I'm like, dude, Despa. Hey, yo. Despa. Hey.
Despa.
That's a little too dangerous.
You don't get it, Despa. Dude, yeah, that's so cool. And I did forget that they had him duel one of the knights of the underworld.
Yes.
Yeah, he like duels the knight, and he like, you know, the king Desha is like, this kid's not strong. Fuck this guy. But the knight sees like, this kid is dodging all of my moves. Like, this is not normal. Like, this kid has some skill, you know?
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the strength. And then, I mean, you know, he finds, like you said, he finds the chink in the armor, and he goes for it, and he nails it, basically. He teaches people, like, doesn't he have, like, an attack where, like, he, like, pokes your, like, I don't know what it is, or, like, your heart, or, like, your, like, pressure points or something like that, and then you, like, fall over something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the chinkin. Like that's the chinkin people. He pokes you so you collapse, and like you basically just pass out.
Yeah, because he like stops your blood flow, right?
Yeah. So Despa's like, you know, because Boji isn't a heartless killer. He's like, this is a way where Boji can defeat his enemies without killing them. However, he's like, this technique is very deadly because he could kill anyone he wanted to. by doing this. So it's like, damn, all right. Despot made this kid the GOAT in like 13 fucking episodes.
Yeah. Oh. So, like, I mean, in the manga, it's probably like 10 chapters. Like, honestly, it's like 10 chapters of just him training and Kaji cleaning, and like you're seeing other stuff going on around the kingdom, and then all of a sudden, bam, strongest man in the universe.
0 to hero, like that.
Straight 0 to hero.
Yeah. But there is a counter for it, because Despot explains that, like, oh yeah, he's stronger than his dad already. Which we already know that by the mirror. The mirror said he's the strongest person. But it doesn't necessarily mean he could defeat anyone. Because there are exceptions. We meet, and we talked a little bit before this, you didn't get to the part where we met the third brother.
No.
The middle brother. Oken is like... So, these three brothers, their dad was the king of the underworld. The oldest is the strongest. He inherited the most abilities from the dad. Like, he has lightning powers. He's incredibly strong. The middle brother is Oken. He can fight really well, but he doesn't have the crazy lightning powers that his older brother does.
Doesn't have the Flash.
Yeah, the Flash. So the older brother's the king, obviously, because he's the strongest of the three. Oken just becomes, he's the best knight because he's of the army, because he's very good at dueling people. And then there's Despa, who he inherited nothing from the dad. Like, Despa cannot fight one fucking bit.
Yeah.
But his teachings, though, he's like Bill Belichick. He never played the game, but he'll teach someone to win 7 rings.
Yes.
So we meet Oken. Oken is in the prison in the underworld because he has a curse. He's immortal, which this curse is, I don't believe it was directly given by the dad, because these three brothers had to defeat the dad. Like, they fought the dad, killed him off, which the dad was evil in the first place.
Sure.
So it's like justified why they killed the dad. But Oken has a curse. And he's immortal now. Now, when you're immortal, you lose your sense of humanity. So he's kind of almost like a zombie vampire thing. Like, he's in the cell, he's like eating rats, and when you communicate with him, he just like talks and like snarls and growls, and he doesn't like communicate. So he's kind of just gone. But to your point, the back half of the anime, the parts that sadly the English translation didn't get to. Did you ever meet Miranjo, the girl in the mirror?
Yes.
Miranjo goes to the underworld, breaks 7 of the strongest beings of the prison out, including Oken. Teleports them to the kingdom that Boji's from, her kingdom.
Okay.
And basically tells them, oh yeah, you guys can just do whatever you want. Right? Because Miranjo, she's like controlling the narrative. She's pretty much the bad guy here.
Yeah, she's like the puppet master, you know. She brought Boss back from the dead, you know, reincarnated in his son's body, which is a whole like, oh my god, like so messed up. Like, he just does not give a shit.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So Miranjo is doing this all because her and Boss killed her dad a long, long time ago. And because Boss, when he was a teenager, his whole thing was, I have to get stronger. I have to get stronger. So he's just defeating people. Miranjo comes from a clan of wizards and witches. And he's never fought a wizard or witch. He's like, oh, I need to go kill wizards and witches. Her dad was a very powerful wizard. He ends up killing him. And then he gets to this point of, like, there has to be more to life than just becoming stronger.
Yeah.
And then he meets Miranjo's mom, who's like, her mom is the absolute, like, Mother Mary. And
just the absolute queen.
yes, and she forgives Boss for killing her husband. And Boss, he gets to the state of just, like, oh God, like, what have I done? Like, what have I been doing with my life?
Yeah.
And so Boss, he has this feeling, this responsibility that I have to raise Miranjo. Like, I have to protect this family because I took out the dad. I have to protect him now. So he feels this responsibility that she's my kid. Anyway, Miranjo, without going too much into detail, just because it is a while, she has a horrible backstory. One, her guardian dad killed her biological dad. And then there's this whole conflict within their village, and all these wizards and witches end up dying while Boss is gone. He's away from the village. They don't explain why he was away, but he was away, right? Like, I don't know, like foresting, getting food, something.
Yeah, something.
Comes back, all of these villagers are dead. Like, straight dead, except for Miranjo. She's like a little girl. They cut her face, like, off. Cut her face off, like, put her on, like, a post, like Jesus, and cut off her hands. Because these villagers, they hated witches and wizards. And there's this... We end up meeting gods and stuff in the show. And so these villagers are like, oh, gods, goddesses, give us some strength. We'll side by you. Just give us strength so we can kill these wizards and witches. Because we don't like, black magic, the mischief. We don't like that. So they leave the girl as an example. And they, cut her hands off, cut her face off. Boss comes to the scene, sees that the mother's dead, all of Miranjo's clan is dead, and then he sees Miranjo on the post, face cut open, like her whole. Did you ever see the Joker comic where he cuts off his face?
Yeah.
It was a scene that looked just like that.
Jesus Christ.
And dude, Boss just became a fucking goat that day. Dude.
Yeah.
The amount of blood in that scene, because he killed the rest of the villagers who killed this clan within this village. Oh my days, he went back to his, I'm just going to kill everyone and everything. But he finds out that, like, oh God, Miranjo's still alive. I need to get her to someone who can help her, because she's, face open, hands cut off. She's losing a fuck ton of blood.
Oh, yeah.
So, she ends up healing her face. Someone heals her face. Right, because we end up meeting the devil and stuff, and there's some supernatural people. But, so now, Boss is traveling the world with Miranjo. And they're going on adventures, right? And Miranjo feels like, man, this giant, she feels so indebted to him. And Boss feels so horrible because if I didn't leave the village, this would have never happened to your family. On top of, hey, I also killed your fucking dad. So that's their relationship, is that she feels so indebted to him, and they love each other like father and daughter. Okay. Even though that these two things, how they met, it's so horrible, but that's the relationship. It's dad and daughter. So Boss ends up creating his own kingdom, gets a wife, has a kid with the wife, and Miranjo gets jealous because his attention now is to, like, his actual family. Yeah. So Miranjo's whole deal in this whole spider web is that she's going to destroy the kingdom so her and Boss can go on adventures again like they used to. And Boss is in this weird dilemma because, one, this woman killed his wife and is destroying the kingdom that he built. But also, he has this thing where he's like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, this is also my kid. Also, too, I killed her dad, so we have this relationship. Yeah. So Boss is in this dilemma where he respects Boji. He respects both sides of this conflict currently. But it's hard because he has Miranjo, his daughter, and then Boji, his actual son, who oppose each other in this first season.
Yeah.
So Boss, when he takes over the...
Dida? Is that his name?
Yeah, like Dottie, something. The other son. The other son. It's not by his choice. That was her choice. Mm-hmm. But he's kind of playing both sides because he wants to figure out the best resolve. But in the last we get the final scene, the final fight scene in the kingdom, and Boji has to fight a couple people. One, when he's finding Oaken, Despa warns Boji and other people, the knights, because he goes with underworld knights to the kingdom to help save his kingdom.
Okay.
And Despa warns the knights, hey, Boji can defeat anyone except for my brother. It's because he's immortal. So the whole you stab me, I collapse, it has no effect on him.
Gotcha.
So we get that fight. Boji gets his fucking ass beat. But Miranjo, because she helped raise Boji when he was little, she feels this internal, because Oaken's a servant to her, because she can control his mind because he's not there. But she feels this, damn, I helped raise Boji. So she comes up and saves him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
So this last fight between him and Oaken, then Boss comes out later on. He's the only one who can defeat Oaken just out of pure strength. And he can't die, so they end up sealing him away at a bottom of a lake, which is fucking hilarious. But Miranjo, she's kind of done with her whole plan now after this point. Because she's what I've been doing is so horrible, it's so bad. And she has this internal older sister instinct to protect Boji, her little brother.
Okay.
And then Boss and Boji end up fighting. And Boji, a couple stabs and he defeats his dad.
He's gone.
Yeah,
He's
that.
Gone.
But
shit, man.
Boss wanted to be defeated by his son. One, if he's defeated, he can be released from his host, his other son. But also, too, he wants Boji to become the king in that way. That, hey, you surpassed me. So it's this whole chemistry dynamic. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of emotions. It was baller. I said this in the most vague way. This whole rant in the most vague way. I would say definitely watch the second half and you'll see what I'm talking about. It is beautiful. Yeah. It is beautiful.
Dude, honestly, just reading through the beginning of it, this is top tier material. This is really good storytelling. There's so every character is fleshed out. Every character has their their reasons for doing things and reasons they shouldn't do things, and it all, as you said, it all just comes together in this insane tornado of plot lines. It's, oh man, that sounds so dope. I have to catch the second half.
This show, it shows this weird dynamic that some people have to fight each other, right? Because they want different things, right? There's just going to be conflict in life because people want this thing on the left and some people are going to want things on the right. And naturally there's going to be a conflict. But that doesn't mean that these two sides hate each other. There's an understanding that you want this, I want that, but I forgive you for standing for your thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of like an honor code.
And there's a lot of forgiveness. I mean, just the dynamic between Boss and Lady Miranjo, like, damn, like, dude, shit gets emotional.
Dude, oh man, it's so good. And even just in the manga, like I felt myself just constantly being like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Oh my god, I'm about to cry. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Like, it just a whirlwind of emotions, like, across the board. And oh man, like, if you guys haven't, you guys have to check this shit out because it is so good. And definitely watch the anime, because unless you're gonna get freaking cliff dived like my ass did, cliffhangers for Eon. Yeah, the anime sounds awesome, and I've watched little, like, bits and pieces of the animation. Animation looks fucking, like, cool.
It's very cartoonish, which in anime it's its own cartoonish. It's like its own thing. Yeah, which it's a unique look, and you think it's gonna be this kid-like anime. No.
Taking some notes from Made in Abyss, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's how I stumbled upon it. I saw on TikTok people were like, animes they look like kiddly cartoons. The first image was Made in Abyss. The second image was Ranking of Kings. So I was like, wow. I've watched Made in Abyss. I liked it. Let's give this a try.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, it's so good. So, any, like, extra thoughts about, like, Baji or anything like that, you know?
One of my things in the beginning, which I think was clarified in, like, episode 4 or 5, is one, he is deaf, but he's been deaf since he was born, and he learned to read lips.
He can read lips, that's right.
So, and that was the thing, Kai's like, man, all these kids are laughing at him, and he has no idea. But we know when he's alone and he's crying, he knows. Mm-hmm. He knows people are planning on his downfall. But yeah, he can
dude, it's so sad.
Read lips. The reason why he's really good at dodging is because he got trained by snakes.
The big snakes, yeah.
Yeah, the big snakes. And two, when you're deaf, you're really anything that happens to your senses, right? If you lose your sense of smell, your sense of hearing, your sense of seeing, if one goes out, right, like your eyes, your hearing naturally gets better. It's your body's way of overcompensating for the lack of losing a sense. So his mobility and he has this thing where he can just sense people's movements better because he's not relying on hearing. So he uses his eyes. He pays attention to, like, if you're coming on, like, a downswing, he sees it so much faster, and it's registering in his head so much faster than someone who's relying on all three senses.
Yeah.
So he uses his disability as an advantage.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I
totally forgot about the reading lips thing.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I mean, it's so cool because it's such a unique character, especially as, like, a main character. Like, I feel like a lot of manga people or, like, series wouldn't, like, necessarily take that chance because it's a difficult, like, point of view to get across. Like, it's not, one of the, I guess I wouldn't say, like, normal, but it's, like, it seems like usually characters with, like, disabilities and stuff are usually, like, side characters. So it's really interesting to see them get into the main and succeed so much, because Baji is a fucking badass, dude. Like, he is so fucking sweet. And oh man, like, it's just such good writing. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. It is fantastic writing. Like,
it is.
You see every aspect of his emotions and character so, like, vividly. It's so cool. Any other characters you wanted to talk about, or
I think what we'll see in the future is more of the devil character. We kind of know his relationship with Miranjo and Boss. Mm-hmm. That's how he's so strong in the first place, is that He's like, hey, take the strength of my firstborn child to make me godlike. And so and when you start making deals with devils, they usually come back around because they're like,
Oh, definitely.
you know, they're like credit card companies. They're like, oh, all right, I'll give you this. You're gonna use it. I'll come back. You know, in case you need something else. So.
Oh yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah, I'll come back. And dealing with the devil is probably not the greatest thing.
No, not exactly.
No, because I mean,
know,
look at Boji.
I know you fucked him over, boss. What the hell, bro?
So, I think we're gonna see more of the devil next season, which I think is gonna be an interesting character overall. Because Miranjo met this devil when this devil was a kid, and she made this relationship sound like whenever the devil does a deal, or I think it's a she. I believe it's a she. Not quite sure. The devil dresses up in a way as a little kid where you don't know if it's a boy or a girl. But
okay,
Miranjo has this relationship with the devil. And the devil, it sounds like, she made it sound like the devil, whenever it makes deals, it turns into this monstrosity thing, and it's not entirely her fault. She hinted towards that. It's not in the dialogue that that's what happened, but it's hinted that the devil doesn't want to do this stuff. So I think we'll see more of them. Oaken, the immortal brother, I thought
definitely will be making a comeback.
I thought he was awesome too. I thought he was sick. He just like growls and snarls. Like people will like Boss like clubs him, like half of his body just gone. But he like comes back together, like Bond from Seven Deadly Sins. He'll like come back together like a couple minutes later, and you're like, oh fuck, this guy again. Yeah, and he's a good fighter. Like again, I was saying, like he's really good tactically with a sword. It's just that you can easily like take off his head, but his strength comes from you just can't kill him. Can't put him down.
Yeah, you literally can't kill him.
He just keeps coming back. But I love his dialogue, how it's just growls and snarls, and it's him laughing.
Yeah, dude, it's a super dope character, and I'm so sad that like because I feel like the next chapter I probably would have met him. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he was very close to being like introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Miranjo was kind of getting to like that point where she's like, I'm gonna bring all these beasts. You know.
Did she get to the portal? Or is she praying? Because they have the underworld portal in the basement of the kingdom.
Yeah, I think she did end up doing that. I don't think she brought people through. I just remember animals and like beasts.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if she ever got any people through, or if she did, I forgot. So. But that that's a Ranking of Kings. It's such a good story. It is seriously such a fun like step back from like I guess you could call shonen. Like it's very much like a different take on the genre, and I really liked it. I really appreciated the way that the story was going, and I cannot wait for more of it because it's so freaking good. It's so freaking good, dude.
It's so good.
It's so good. Okay, Monty, so out of 10, where are you putting Ranking of Kings?
I'm going to go... All right. First season, I'm going an 8.6.
Ooh, that's pretty high.
Yeah, I'm going to go an 8.6. First impressions was a very good, very nice first impression.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, they come out the gate strong.
It's very
strong.
It's a very good start. Head start.
Yeah, definitely.
Very nice head start.
Yeah, I think my rating out of 10, I obviously didn't get to all of it, but even with just the small information that I have, easily an 8. no doubt.
Yeah.
Like easily an 8. Like I guarantee you, if I had the rest of the information that I had, that you kind of gave me with like the manga, it'd probably be a 9, almost guaranteed. So we'll say like 8. Yeah, we'll say an 8, just because I didn't get all of it. But
Yeah, it's in that column. It's in that column for sure.
Yeah, it's up in the top, no doubt about it. So I know you were telling me before this, there is a chance that Ranking of Kings is making it into Mahdi's top 25.
There is a chance. There is. It's just to get in the top 25. It's getting difficult and difficult. Not because it's not like this anime isn't good enough. It's that one of the anime in the 25 gotta leave, and it's it's either. It's hard because there's a couple anime in here that are one season and they're not finished, right? Like Tower of God, I really enjoyed it. My Dress Up Darling, right? They're 24, 25. One season, still got more content to come. So just like Ranking of Kings, they're all in that one season, more content to come. But it's just hard. It's like, should I just keep this as like an honorable mention until we get more content? Leave them as the positions that they are? Because they're all in the same dilemma. And it's like, damn, do I put this in instead of My Dress Up Darling? Do I put this in?
It's tough.
It gets difficult, man. The more anime you watch, it's just like, oh man, yeah, this gotta... Does this go down? Does this go up? I don't know.
Yeah, like it's the struggle, dude. It's the struggle. Okay, yeah. Well, that is the two sides of the same story of Ranking of Kings. Marty watched the anime. I read the manga. Definitely one of our favorites so far. I mean, we've only done a couple of series, but this one, I mean, it's a top contender for really being a huge mainstream like placeholder in the anime community. Like I feel like once this shit gets to like season 3, like everyone's gonna know about it, everyone is gonna be watching it, and we're probably gonna see Ranking of Kings like freaking dolls at Target and stuff like that. Like I would freaking die to have a little Baji with a plushie. That would be sweet. But yeah, that is Ranking of Kings, we enjoyed it. There were a lot of good stuff, and honestly I really couldn't find anything bad. Like there was nothing where I was like, I didn't really like that, or like, like that could have been better.
Yeah.
I honestly felt like everything was handled like very like strategically,
Yeah, I loved what they did with the Queen, because you totally thought she was just gonna be a bitch, and then you get to know her, and she's really like, she loves Boji like a mother. She loves both her kids, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay.
Yeah, like, damn it.
Like, this was the character I was supposed to hate, and you're like, nah. Write that shit off.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Budgie's sword trainer. What is his name? Like Damas?
Yeah, Doma. Hey,
Doma.
Yeah, Doma.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's an S
like,
at the end for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where like in most series, this would be like the one guy that sticks up for Baji and is like there for him. But in this one, he has his own motives and just totally fucks him over. Just does not care. And he's like gives up on him so early with like the sword training, because he's like, obviously I must be a horrible swordsman if I can't even train this freaking child.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
He does redeem himself.
I'm sure he does.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he does. It's
But no, that moment though, where he flung him in, I was like, yo!
Dude, I was not ready for it. I was like, no fucking way they just did that.
I thought in that episode beforehand, when he went away from the campfire to investigate something, I thought maybe someone like took him out and then they somehow jutsu themselves to look like him. I thought that was happening.
Oh.
And then later in the scene, you're like, no, it's him. And I'm like, bro, what the What just happened? But no, it was the brother who told him to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, which is pretty fucked.
Pretty? Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great. But
It's not
dude,
great.
our boy Kaji, man, coming up, clutch moment,
Oh,
clutch.
as fuck, dude. Oh, I was not ready for. Like, dude, how is he gonna get up? And then Kaji just wham, straight in there. So good.
So great.
But yeah, that's our episode on Ranking of Kings. If there's anything else you guys want us to check out, let us know in the comments or something like that. Give us a like, give us a good old subscribe. And if there's anything else you guys want to see, let us know. We always love feedback, so, get it up there. Let us know. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, all that good shit. And, if there's anything else to see from the channel, give us a shout. Next week with some more content. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and this has been The Boys Talk Biz, two sides of the same story. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Peace.
Choo.